think we'll begin. Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar on the Heritage Council's Heritage Organisation Support Fund for 2026. My name is Martina Malone. I'm the Grants Administrator with the Heritage Council, and I'm joined today by my colleague Amanda Ryan, who's the Heritage Council's Grants Manager. You can see we're in webinar function, which means you can see us, but we can't see you. So for that reason, we'd ask you to pop any questions you have into the questions and answers section below. We will be recording the webinar and we'll also make Amanda's presentation available on the website afterwards. The format of the webinar today is we'll have a short presentation from Amanda who will take you through the criteria and eligibility around the scheme. And then we'll get to your questions in the questions and answers box below. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Amanda.
Thanks a million, Martina, and welcome everybody, and thanks for attending. We'll keep this presentation very short, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen this presentation before because you've applied to us before. So I will keep it very short to leave enough time for questions and answers. So basically, just to run through, the purpose of the fund is to provide core operational funding to organisations. So that's your rents, rates, salaries, all the kind of boring things, but very important aspects of operating and doing the work that you do. It also focuses on strategic growth and also environmental responsibility. So that's an important one. What actions that you do, that they do adopt to eco-friendly practices and contribute in a positive way to climate action and sustainability goals, and also long-term resilience. So next, the key dates. So application deadline, we're open now. The application form is live on the system. So you'll need to submit your application by the 26th of January at 5 p.m. The system does close down automatically at that time. We will then be very busy assessing your application over the weeks after that, and we will let you know the outcome in early March 2026. You'll be notified in writing, most likely by email. And then if you are successful, you will start implementing your work plan from the beginning of April until the following March 2027. So are you eligible? So you must be. This is a must. It doesn't matter if you have charitable status. You must be a company limited by guarantee and independent from state control. And by that, I mean that you're not a subsidiary, a separate company to a local authority, but that they're on your governing board. So you must be completely independent. The Constitution must prohibit director pay. And by director pay, we mean the director of the board. We don't mean the director of the organisation or CEO or manager. That is for directors that are listed on your Constitution. You must operate within 2 or more local authorities, and your work must align to the Heritage Council strategy and also hit other national plans. And this is for, as I've said, core operational costs. It's not for implementation of projects or, well, I should say that's incorrect, actually. It's not for like one-off projects. This is for the rent, salaries, what keeps your organisation running. And maximum funding is 50,000 per organisation. Now, going on previous years, that means with the available funding we have, you're talking about 35, maybe to 40 organisations are successful annually. And annually we receive up to 90, 100 applications. So it is a very competitive scheme. So how you're scored. You're scored against the 4 criteria that are listed in the booklet. And number 1 is strategic alignment. So that's how your work aligns with Heritage Council strategy. And as I said, other national plans like Climate Action Plan and Heritage Ireland 2030. It's also, you must show how your activities contribute to long-term sustainability, community engagement, and other environmental responsibility. Use specific examples. Don't make statements that you can't back up. And I should say, when making an application, do be straight and honest, because you will, if you are successful, what you have said in your application will be looked at final reporting, and indeed interim reporting. So you'll have to show evidence of where you have met those goals that you've set out in your application. Organizational capacity. And this, I suppose, is more about, are you set up and have you the resources in place to effectively deliver your work plan? And reviewers like to see good evidence. Good governance is a really strong one there, and experience in managing similar projects. I would say for newer groups to new groups to this application, you should probably look at the community grant scheme first. That is more project specific. We also can, if you're looking at undertaking a project and you need to contract specific expertise to undertake it, we can look at that under the community grant scheme. So, and that will be open for applications in February. The organisational capacity is a strong assessor criteria. So I've seen newer organisations come to us, put an awful lot of time and effort into making an application, and they haven't been successful. And it is heart-wrenching, because you can see they put a lot of work in. So maybe I would strongly advise that maybe you look at the community grant scheme first if it is your first time applying to us. Heritage, social and climate impact. This also, all of them are important. This is equally important in terms of the climate and social impact. You know, how are you going to engage communities, train volunteers, improve accessibility to heritage? The climate, again, give examples. Don't make statements that you can't back up. Work plan and monitoring. How are you going to monitor your work plan, with what milestones, deadlines, and show how you'll monitor that? So basically, I'll just run through. These are just kind of general tips. And I say in all our grant schemes, read the guidelines carefully. We did, while our criteria hasn't changed, we did put a lot of work this year into formatting the guidance and application form into a more user-friendly and clearer format. And I hope it has worked. So read those carefully. We give a lot of examples and tips. And start your application early. I would say you should be starting it now, because even though we haven't as many documents that you need to upload this year, we've embedded a lot of the information within the application form. So in the past, you would have had to upload work plans and what else did you have to upload? You had to upload a work plan, your budget. Now that's embedded into the application form itself. So the uploading documents section has reduced significantly, but it's still a basis for us to mark in terms of whether you pass the criteria or not. So, and that's in terms of showing your constitution, previous strategic plans, or, you know, background information on your organisation. Also, those letters of support are vital. Clear storytelling. Explain who you are, what you do, and why your work matters. Assessors, don't assume assessors know your work. We have a panel of assessors that we draw. Some are not based in Ireland. Some could be from the UK. They could work within Northern Ireland. So they may not be familiar with everything you do. So take it that you're presenting yourself for the first time. Strategic fit and impact, that's again where you align to our goals and other national plans. Governance is a big one. What financial controls have you in place? Who is overseeing spending? Do you have board meetings frequently? Do you have audits? Things like that. Have you, even if you contract outside accountancy firms, that's fine. Anything that shows that there's governance and oversight. show partnerships. This is who you collaborate with. And I would say, even though we say minimum of 2 letter support, those strong applications always include more than the 2. Highlight where other funding is coming from. Don't use jargon, avoid anything like that, just write clearly. Evidence of your impact, again, use examples. And plan for monitoring, use indicators. How, do you have quarterly reporting? How is that going to be monitored? And supporting information, PDF, JPEG format is only acceptable, and 10 megabytes each. And ask someone to review your application before you submit it, just to make sure that it's completed and clear. We have seen quite a number of people actually fail at the first stage, and it is very sad to see, because a lot of times they thought they had uploaded something, but they hadn't. So make sure that somebody else has a quick look over it before you actually submit, because we can't ask for additional information and we can't accept additional information. And if it doesn't have the basic information at the first stage of assessment, it won't go any further and it won't be seen by assessors. So if you're in doubt, just check with us. Our email address is grants@heritagecouncil.ie, and we'll try and get back to you within 5 working days. We're currently in the middle of drawdowns for this year, so we've extra work on, but we will try to get back to you within 5 working days. And there's a link there to our strategic plan, which is, I think it is linked, but all the plans are linked within the document. So that's it. So I will pass, I'll stop sharing. And Martina, if we have any questions, I will take them.
We've no questions at the moment.
Oh
so
my God. We'll expect really strong applications.
If anyone has any questions, yeah, please put them forward for us now.
This is a first. We must have all.
We worked hard on that booklet
yes,
this
we've
year.
one question. I
Here we
see.
go. Can you talk about the obligation to be operational in 2 or more local authority areas?
Okay, by that we mean that your work more, and even with the 2, that is a minimum. We like to see where you mightn't have a national reach. We like to see where you maybe go into other counties. So we'll say, if I'm an organisation based in Cork, that perhaps my work goes into Kerry or Limerick, or that would be important. And it's also an indicator that your work can be an exemplar or modelled elsewhere. So if your work is more based within one county, again, I would be saying look to the community grant scheme. While under the community grant scheme, we can't fund core costs like rents, rates, anything like that. It is more project driven. It is a good starting point, and a good few of the groups that have successfully applied to this scheme over the last number of years, that's how they started. They built capacity under the community grant scheme. They started doing projects yearly. They started small, and now they have been successful in receiving funding under the heritage organisations. And, their organisation has built up over those years. So, yeah, even 2, while we say 2, that is minimum criteria, we will be saying, realistically, those that get funding will be working in their reach would be within a few counties.
Okay. Thanks, Amanda. The next question is this a multi-annual fund?
Yes, the multi-annual fund that comes up every year. We are trying to bring that in, and those of you that are getting funding this year will see that by the time you claim your full funding in March, offers, if you're successful for next year, offers will have gone out then. So there won't be a break in offers. But I understand, ideally, we would like to, what we're working towards is having a model that we can offer funding for 2 or 3 years in a row. rather than this once-off apply. And there's a lot of work in applying for the application and the paperwork, and you're putting up the same type of paperwork every year. And, we are very aware of that. It's just something we have to work out with our parent department, because at the moment our budgets are annual and we don't have that flexibility.
Somebody's asking, is there a specific theme this year?
There's no theme, but I would stress that no matter whether you're working in the museum sector or, on archives, things like that, or another example, architecture, built heritage, climate action and sustainability is a running theme across all our applications, and also accessibility, reaching out to newer audience and engaging those that may not traditionally have had access to heritage. So those two would be strong, those kind of that give applications an edge, I suppose, in terms of assessment, that you can show, well, we're going to engage, local, I'm trying to think of, local groups that maybe not, or national groups that may not necessarily traditionally be linked with heritage. So, and again, the climate action.
The next question is on the system itself. Can you work on your application, save, and come back to it later?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, you can. You can go in and out as often as you want and save. And it's only once you click submit, it is submitted. But if what happens, people submit it, they're prepared and they get their application in ahead of the deadline, they click submit and realize, oh my God, I forgot to upload this. That's fine. We can reopen it again for you as long as it's within the deadline. So don't panic if that happens. But it has to be in by the deadline. But if you do submit and you've realize, and I suppose that's where getting someone to check it as well is important. But it does happen and we can add it before the deadline.
Next question, do partnership with groups in Northern Ireland count, or is it just within the Republic of Ireland?
At the moment, it's just within the Republic of Ireland, but I believe, I don't know too much, Martina might know more than me, but we have got additional funding, our announcement of additional funding for next year to explore different links with Northern Ireland. So next year, we will more than likely have a dedicated grant scheme that looks at cross-border type projects, but I don't have much, but at the moment, what we have is just work that's focused in the Republic.
Thank you. Can you recontract the staff member after 1 year? Do you mean?
Yes, that's okay. Yes.
Yeah. Our groups were successful last year with their funding, because that deadline is March 2026,
yes.
Still eligible to apply for funding. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. We expect that a lot that received funding this year will be back to us again in this round. So absolutely. And first time, I don't want to put off first time applicants, because actually this year it was great to see a number of applicants who hadn't received funding from us before were successful in their application under the scheme. So first time applicants are warmly welcomed. As well, and groups that have received funding from us in the past. And an example there as well is, unfortunately, some groups this year who would have got funding from us in previous years, and we would have a long established relationship with them, began because their application wasn't strong enough coming into us and was assessed against all these other applications. They weren't funded this year. So I suppose don't treat it like you're making an application for the first time. Don't assume.
Is there room for new approvals in such a competitive situation? Is there anything else that we're looking for more of? I suppose
I'm not quite. Is that about new applicants?
I'd say so. Yeah. I
Yeah.
suppose.
Again, yes.
Do we mainly build heritage, natural heritage, cultural heritage? I suppose we cover all.
We do,
or
yeah. We've a diverse
organizations?
range.
Yeah.
Like the list of successful organizations are on our or is on our website if you want to look. But a lot of the groups, I don't have the. I think about 30% of the groups funded this year, and it could be a bit more. Were all new applicants. We hadn't come across them before, so they made strong applications and they made their case and they were awarded funding. And we have one group that applied to us again, they actually had applied for a community grant a few years ago, and from that, then the following year, they applied for this scheme and they had no full-time staff. And now they have, I think, maybe one or two full-time staff members as a result of building up capacity and resilience. So absolutely, first-time applicants are more than welcome.
This question is in terms of the time scale. Will the fund run from April 26 to March 27, the same as this year?
Yes.
And they were saying it makes it so much more easier to complete
Oh,
the work
good.
program to have a full year.
Yeah,
So
it
same
will.
time
Yes,
scale.
yeah. Now, and if you do, some of our groups this year actually will be drawn down their full grant by the end of the year. But if that's the way you want to work it, that's fine as well. You don't have to draw it out until March 2027. You can claim your full grant by Christmas of 2026.
Okay, the next question is about the local authority area again. If it straddles two local authority areas by way of volunteers, is that sufficient?
Yeah, as long as your reach
Is over the,
goes beyond
yeah.
one local authority area.
Mhm.
But I would, where you are only within one county, I would try and make the case that your model or the way your organisation is set up, that it could be replicated elsewhere. You know, that you're an exemplar for other similar groups. And I would also show where whatever you're doing, the work you're doing does have a national reach, that it's of national interest.
Can CLG organisations whose remit is not singularly about heritage, are they eligible to apply?
That's a good question. We say heritage focused. So that is a good question. Now I'm stumped a bit. I'm trying to think of um, organizations. I would say the work program would have to have a large component that would meet that kind of heritage. And when I say heritage, at the moment, the definition would be defined by our Act. I think it's 1995 slash was it updated in 2018? And again, that the information is on our website. So I know one group we're funding while their core remit isn't totally focused on heritage, a large element would have that heritage side to it, or however you would define it. So you would have to have a strong heritage work focus, yes.
Mhm. And the next question, do
And sorry, just thinking about that again, maybe that's something that you could community grant scheme. You don't have to be heritage focused. We get applications from GA groups, from
mm,
tidy towns groups, from all parish councils. So
mm.
you should look at the community group, community grant scheme as well. You don't have to be heritage focused. You just have to. Your project just has to be heritage focused, which you don't.
Next question, do we need to have a board of management in place for the application?
Well, with the constitution, you'd have to have a board of directors, and by your constitution should state that these directors do meet at certain points. So there would have to be, in terms of the governance, you would have to show that they have an active role in the governance of your organisation.
The next one is a technical one. Can we offload the application form or questions from the platform so we can work collaboratively while working through each application section?
No, only one person can log on at the same time and work on the application, because if you're making changes and someone else is on it, it won't work out. You'll be overriding changes and edits. You can download a summary. If you click the summary button on the application, when you're in the application form, there should be a summary button. I think it's just above to the right of the application online. If you click that, that will download the questions, and if you have any answers, it'll show the answers so far. But that comes out in PDF format. So a lot of people would have ability to, change that into a Word document. The only thing, you can, people can log in and look at the application together, but as far as working on it, filling in the answers, one person needs to do that and save it. Sorry, but if there's anything, is there anything else we could do, Martina, or?
I suppose we could maybe do some screenshots from the system so people can see the questions. Maybe I
Well,
think that's possibly, yes,
the summary document will display the
we'll have that.
questions. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but
that's
that is in a PDF format, and unless you're able to convert that to a Word document, or you have a PDF, do they call it PDF writer or PDF? If you have the software that can edit
software. You can edit it
PDFs,
then. Yeah,
yeah.
we could
Um,
do it that way.
yeah,
Um,
but the questions are on the guidance document. So I'd suggest maybe you take them one by one and maybe answer them in Word, a Word document that you can share. But that's where we're at with it.
Yeah, there's a couple of people on, I think, that can see that they're probably more eligible for the community grant scheme.
Okay.
So maybe Amanda, just
And
have a
yeah,
quick
we'll be
scan through
advertising that
those.
in early February. We haven't pinned that down fully yet, but we expect there'll be a closing date of about 6 weeks from the date it's advertised in early February, with offers going out in early May.
Hmm.
And it's the maximum grant under that scheme is 25,000. Again, no match funding required either.
Yes, it's a little bit more straightforward. Let me just check this one now. Yes, so this is where if you get one grant from the Heritage Council that you won't get another one basically.
That's
I read that you're successful for one grant, you're not eligible for another. Does this mean that if you get this core funding grant that you can't get a community grant?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
correct.
it. Okay. Yeah, so that some of you have asked that question.
Yeah,
Can
yeah,
you apply
only
for
one
both?
grant. No.
You can,
Well, you can
yeah,
apply,
you
sorry,
can
you can
apply.
apply for both. And because that we will make sure next year that our community grant scheme, the deadline allows enough time that if you're not successful under this scheme, that you'll have time to submit an application under the community.
Okay. Does funding cover equipment or safety gear for new staff?
Well, see, that would be under that would come in under overheads, and that's operational. So, yeah, and I don't in your you needn't be that specific in your application. It's more kind of broad headings. Yeah, anything that you need, for running your organization.
Oh, sorry, I have a few of the same themes. So I'm just trying to capture a few together. How are the payments structured for this scheme?
Well, you will be accepting your grant in March. You'll be providing your bank details, accepting the terms and conditions, and we usually, most groups are not. Some groups do twice. We look for a minimum of two drawdowns. So that would be one around October and then the final one. But if your group, for cash flow reasons, needs more, we can accommodate up to four. So that would mean you'd have to put in a progress report, tell us where you're at in terms of the work plan that you gave us, and you'd have to supply kind of evidence of costs, and we could release some funding based on that. So up to about four times, I would say.
Now we've two about kind of across counties again. I think people are not clear on this. When you say reach across a few counties, do you mean visitors from national and international context, or do you mean formal connections with multiple local authorities?
It doesn't, you don't, sorry, when we say local authority areas, we define our areas by local authorities because we work so closely with local authorities. We've the local authority network that comprises of biodiversity officers and heritage officers at the moment. So we categorise grants by their local authority area. So I suppose not just, you don't have to have partnerships with local authorities to apply. It's good and it makes for a stronger application. It's more about where your reach is, that if you're an organisation in Cork that that maybe you offer programs in Kerry and Limerick as well, or in Clare, or it's more about where your work program goes out into. You don't have to have direct links with actual local authorities. Does that, am I answering that okay, Martina? I think there is
Yeah,
a strong focus. We define it by local authority areas purely because we work so closely with our network, and when we award funding, that's the way we categorise it, so that heritage officers, biodiversity officers are able to see what groups are funded within their catchment area. But yeah, you do have to show that it's not just that your work isn't just county based.
Okay. The next questions are just a little bit about the judging criteria.
Okay.
Can you just tell us a little bit more about
Great.
that and the process? And then also, when you're assessing, do you look at previous year's work plan? Up to this year, it was possible, but now, given that there's that 3-month overlap, you'd have to go back a little bit more, I suppose, to look on the work plan. Or although people do have to apply for an interim payment before Christmas, so
Yeah.
you'd be looking at that as well. So just a little bit about the judging criteria, I suppose.
Okay.
And
Well, we always say we judge on the information that's presented in front of us. So really, while the applications, and it could be people looking at your application that did not look at an application previously. While the information is available, obviously, on our online system, it wouldn't be normal to go back looking at previous years. Now, where it might come into play is where we have funded organisations in the past and maybe they didn't draw down their full grant, or the work plan didn't go ahead as planned, and they didn't meet deadlines. That's where the impact would come in. But assessors look at what is presented in front of them with the application that has, and that's why it's so important that you treat it like a first application. They might have no knowledge that we funded you in the past. When the application first comes into us, it's screened by the grants scheme or the grants team to make sure that, I think there's about 4 or 5 documents that need to be uploaded this year. It's screened to make sure those documents are uploaded and that you are eligible in terms of, meeting company limited by guarantee, that you've completed the application form, that you've filled out the various sections. So that's a pass or fail. So if that passes, it moves on to the next stage. And that's where it's assigned to a panel. And the panel usually comprises of in-house technical staff and external panel members. And they looked at that together and they score it. When that's done, all the results are brought back together. Scores are looked at between the panels. We look for any variations in kind of, standards. Scores may be standardized. Then a shortlist is created based on the highest scoring applications. That's presented to an external panel of assessors. Now, they don't generally rescore, but they can. And they also look at review and make recommendations to our board. And it's the board then that have the final decision. But I would say that it is a competitive process, that don't assume assessors know your work. And it's judged. We've given tips this year on how it will be assessed and scored. And it has to score a minimum of 10 under each criteria to move to the next stage. So in that second stage assessment, where the panel, internal and external panel, are working together, if it scores less than 10 under a criteria there, it won't move to the final kind of the external panel stage.
Sorry, I'm answering questions as you're chatting there.
Oh, okay. I hope that if that doesn't answer, come back with a question.
You mentioned that directors should not be remunerated, but can you have paid staff, and can the funding go towards their salaries?
Yes, by directors, we mean the directors that are listed on your constitution. So they shouldn't be employees of the organisation. So the fund covers, yes, salaries for staff or managers, or so a director refers to a director listed on your constitution.
Thank you. How are the grant payments issued?
That's through submission of a progress report and evidence of expenditure. We release some of the payment, and usually kind of twice. But as I said earlier, if you have cash flow issues, you can look for up to 4, and that includes the final payment. But it must be formally through the progress reporting function on our online system. Everything is done online, and payments then are transferred electronically. And I should say you'll also need tax clearance certificates or tax clearance if you haven't got tax exemption charitable status.
Mm-hmm. If you're unsuccessful, will you be told why you failed?
Yes, absolutely. You'll be given the scores under each criteria, and also a short explanation, a narrative, kind of generalising where maybe your application fell down. But you'll get the scoring, and if you feel that you were unfairly scored or unfairly assessed, you can make an appeal. But there's criteria for what type of grounds will meet that appeal.
Okay.
And that's published on our website as well.
Mm-hmm. Can you get an upfront payment, or is it all retrospective?
It's mainly retrospective now. If you have cash flow issues, you can make, and people have done it in the past, you can make a kind of a case for an advance payment. And we kind of deal with that case by case, but we have done it in the past, yes.
Okay. When you're submitting your application form, do you use broad headings such as salaries, light and heat, stationery, without identifying specific roles or specific items?
Well, for salaries, I would identify the specific roles definitely. Light and heat, you needn't go into too much detail there. But for things that have to do with salaries, I would identify who, is it for, administration? Is it for the CEO's role? Whatever. Yeah, I would identify who the salaries are for.
Mhm.
And if there's if there's specific kind of programs that you're focusing on, yeah, I would break those down.
Okay. Trish is just asking, their organization focuses on heritage, climate action, but has a third strand related to enterprising and empowering communities. They're a geopark. Is this an issue, or do you just apply for funding for heritage stroke climate action stroke environment?
Well, the I don't really know what the enterprising means, but certainly community empowerment is a very important aspect. You could some groups don't apply for the full 50,000. We have grants this year of 30. So you could, and I know some groups are quite large and they would have a lot of employees, so they focus their application to us for a specific element. So it might be communications element of the work they're doing. But I would say if it isn't for if you're not applying for your full work program and it's only an element of your work program, I would upload a copy of your full kind of work program so that assessors can have an overview of where what you're applying to us fits in with your overall work plan.
Okay. Can you apply for salaries for existing roles, or are they for new roles only?
No, existing salary. And new roles, I just remember that you must, if you are thinking of hiring staff, you must include a job description, upload a job description with that, with your application. But if it's for existing roles, I would, and as well as that, I would be explicit about that in your application, just say it's existing role, or if it's for a new role, be explicit about that and upload the job description. A few groups not a few, but there was one or two that applied to us last year, and it wasn't clear on their application whether it was a new role or existing role, who the role was for. So they actually weren't successful. And so anywhere where you think you can provide clarity, do, because you'd be surprised at things that confuse assessors. So be as clear as possible. And if it is a new role, add that job description.
Okay. Um, still seems to be a little bit of confusion about the
Oh, the
cross-county thing,
county.
Amanda.
Okay. I'm
If
not
if you can
explaining it for.
have a stationary site in one location, or do you have to have multiple locations in different counties? No, you
No, you
don't.
don't. You don't have to have multiple locations. It's more that your work goes into other counties. So you could be based in Cork, but we'll say you're a group that provides that works on biodiversity, and you're based in, I keep saying Cork, so I say you're based in Kilkenny, but you are offering community events in Clare, or not, I think Clare's a bit far, Kilkenny, so you're offering community groups in Kilkenny, Wexford, Waterford. That would be an example of where your reach is, that your work is cross border between counties. So that would be an example of where you would meet that eligibility for working within more than one local authority area. I think what we'll do, because it could be down to me not explaining it properly, and possibly in our guidelines we weren't that clear about it either. I think we will go back in-house, and I will get a little statement together and we'll publish it on our website, because it seems to be an important one. I the last thing we want to do is waste people's time applying to us, because a number of grant applications last year did fall down on that specific kind of element. So it is important not to waste people's time. And we'll get something up on our website. Today is Friday, so I would say by Tuesday at the latest, we'll have something up on our website.
We just have one more question, Amanda. So we're ending on this one from Paul.
Okay, I just want to take a drink. Sorry.
You're grand. Can you get grant aid for the storage of artifacts that will eventually be hosted in a telecoms museum when it comes on stream? It's more of a kind of project.
Yeah, that is project. That's very project specific. There would, yeah, you could apply for the community for that, but you'd have to broaden it to more than just storage. There would have to be maybe some kind of outreach element to it in terms of like community engagement, or, you know, you'd have to be, don't want to say clever about, but you'd have to make a business case that brought in other elements, you know, than just, oh, we want funding to store these artifacts. It would have to have other benefits.
Okay.
Besides, and I know that storing them correctly is important, but you know, it would have to have a broader scope. But I don't think that's something for this particular scheme. No.
Okay. That's 46 questions answered, Amanda. So well done.
And
So
I hope if there's anything you think of afterwards, do reach out, and we'll try and keep our. We'll try and do a frequently asked questions and get that, but definitely the one about your reach, the relevance, that you have more than that you you're broader than one county. We'll get that, our local authority area, we'll get that up on our website by Tuesday.
Okay. That's it then.
Thank you very much, and best of luck with your application. And if in doubt, do reach out to us. And enjoy the rest of your day. I hope it's not raining as much as it is here in your area. And best of luck. Thank you.